Are you going to have any say over how it's made? Or have they said, oh, sorry, Douglas, thank you for all your time and energy, but hey, we're going to do it Hollywood way?
No, well, I should preface this by saying what I'm saying now, I'm saying right at the beginning of a process that's going to go on for 2 years. So I can only say where we are right now, which is everybody was saying they want me to be as involved absolutely up to the hilt as possible, and then it's to be my vision and so on and so forth. But check with me again in a year's time, you know, and see if that's still the same. Well, Griff Rhys Jones, actually, I've known since we were at school together. In fact, I claim I actually sort of started his acting career because I was in my second year at Cambridge. I had been cast in a show. It was The Rivals, and I was to play Sir Lucius O'Trigger, the Irishman. And we came up early at the beginning of the second year to start rehearsing. And we discovered that the guy who was to play Fag the butler, languishing in a Cretan jail for having smoking dope on the beach. So the producer, Sue Lim.
Allegedly? Do we need to chat with that?
Oh, allegedly. No. Well, we do know that he was languishing in jail.
Yes.
So anyway, Sue Lim, who was producing, went into complete panic, said, do we know anybody else who could do this part? And as I say, it was right at the very, very beginning of time, so nobody really knew. And I then said, actually, there's this guy I was at school with who was quite a good actor. I think he may be coming out to Cambridge this term. His name is Griff Rhys Jones, and he's a good actor. I'm not sure if he can do comedy or not, but he may be. So Sue said, well, go and get him. So I went and found which college he'd gone to and found him in his freshers' dinner.
Oh, God.
And said, Griff, do you want to come and be in a play? And he said, yeah, all right. And he basically, from that moment on, he ruled Cambridge Theatre for the next 4 years.
When did you realise, with the Hitchhikers, when did you realise, my goodness, it's all gone very right?
Well, it was kind of weird how sudden it was, actually, because it was one of these things, you know, you're sort of struggling along for ages and you know, for years, and then you suddenly become an overnight success. Or it appears to be that sudden, but it was very sudden because, you know, the radio series had gone out, and, you know, people had said nice things about it, but you never know with radio, you see, because the audience research figures are very misleading. The margin of error is greater than that which they're trying to measure in the first place. So you just know it's gone well because you get a couple of letters from people saying they heard it and liked it. So they say, oh, well, that's good. This must be a hit then. So then a publisher heard it and said, why don't you write a book? So I wrote the book. And the book came out, and I was just wondering if, you know, anybody would buy it. And I remember it was the Sunday after it came out, and I'd sort of gone off to get the newspapers in the morning, and came back, and there was a message on my answering machine from a friend of mine at the publisher saying, you should look at the Sunday Times. And I thought, well, what am I looking for? Is there some story I'm going to be interested in? So I went through it, and eventually found the books page, and eventually I fell on the bestseller list, and I thought, well, no point in looking at that. But I sort of started at the bottom, went up, and it was #1.
Oh,
so, and that was the moment that suddenly sort of life just sort of, turned over.
But it is,
over. Yeah.